Hello friends, thank you for tuning in. My name is Verdin and I'm the founder and managing attorney at Verdin Law Firm. We are a full-service immigration law firm, boutique in nature in that we focus on complex immigration cases and investor visas. We represent clients throughout the world. All right, today I'm going to address a unique topic that comes up often from my clients seeking E-2 visas. And really the question becomes, what can I invest into the E2 enterprise to meet my investment requirement? So today I'm going to give you three categories or three strategies to make the investment, to meet your investment requirement. All right, let's talk about the first. The first is the most common, and I would say 90% or 95% of investors use this, where you are transferring cash into the E2 enterprise. You are transferring a very specific amount of capital into the E2 enterprise, and you clearly are showing a specific amount that's being transferred into the business. Another way to establish the investment amount requirement for the E2 visa would be that you are transferring property, tangible property into the business. So the tangible property is not cash. I'm talking about physical property, either real estate or business property that is transferred into the E2 enterprise. So I'll give you some examples. One would be for real estate. So this would be a scenario where the individual investor owns physical real estate property in his or her individual capacity. And then they are changing the title or transferring the title into the E2 enterprise's name. So the corporation of the E2 enterprise would now own the real estate asset. So this would be sufficient and satisfy the requirement. An additional example for physical property would be where the individual owns machinery or equipment in his or her individual name and they're transferring the title to the business. These examples would qualify for investment asset transfers into the business. So the value of the purchase for those physical assets would satisfy the investment amount. A third category, which is not as commonly used, would be where you are transferring intangible property into the business. So what is intangible property? So intangible property would be patents or copyrights that are owned, maybe softwares that are intellectual property programming and software, some product that's been developed. And that value for those items, for those intangible assets would qualify. So the tricky part really is, or the challenge is establishing the valuation of the intellectual property of the intangible asset. So the government will want to review evidence that you submit to satisfy that valuation. For example, would be an expert opinion letter from someone in the industry that is given an evaluation, some specific, very specialized accountant that's giving valuation to that asset. So these would be examples. There are other methodologies that can be used to establish a valuation for intellectual properties. Experts can advise you on those things. So we talked about three ways to establish the investment requirement: cash, physical property, or intangible property. These are all sufficient ways to establish the E2 investment requirements. If you have questions, contact Verdin. We're happy to guide you through the process. Thank you.